Okay, so I don't even remember the title tonight, but can okay, can I change? Oh, here we go. They keep changing this format on WebEx, and I don't know where the controls are a little bit, so bear with me. So, I'm going to talk about perspective for just a moment because there's an endless ways to look at the thing that we look at, and just in this picture is just really one perspective to look at it. You could look at it with blood work, and you could look at it with all kinds of different stuff, but as far as structure goes, this is one of the ways that we look at it. We could look at it, just with people standing in front of you and so forth. I like having people in a perspective of seeing them standing up because they engage their muscle system, and you can really see the effects of the way that person is truly standing, not in a relaxed position where they're slumping over or something like that. This is their engaged best position. So there's just this endless perspective. It doesn't matter if it's in chiropractic and there's hundreds of people, hundreds of different techniques. There's probably thousands at this point, variants to the variants to the variants. And even in the medical model, you would look at this thing, and I don't mean just an X-ray, just the human body here. But I got to put something up here. Is if you went to a person and you were having a stomach ache, or if you had a shoulder problem, that would probably be the best thing. And you went to a therapist, they would rub that shoulder and they go, "Oh my God, look at all this tension that's in there." If you did PT, they would say, "Oh, maybe there's weakness, it's not firing, blah, 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 blah. And this is what we're going to do." Okay. You went to an orthopedist, he'll take an x-ray, he'll say that you have some type of degeneration in there. You get the point. Okay. Well, that's the same thing that goes on in chiropractic, and it's the same thing that goes on in my life, that from when I started in chiropractic school to where I got to, I did some certifications and so forth, and that perspective and so forth and so on. Today's perspective is where, I'm delivering my goods because I like to talk about my present stuff and the way that I evaluate things and the way that I do things. So that being said, is I'm going to tell you something that I found to be humorous, is that the history of where all of us have had a conversation is we started with the spine, or we started with bones and muscles and anatomy, and then I've talked about sections. We've brought in information about, wow, isn't this cool? This is connected to this, and anatomy trains, and then there's this cool buzzword. Hey, this is the way it's anatomically made. Okay, and it's called tensegrity, and for a human, it's called biotensegrity. All right. So that is all great and good and so forth and so on, but none of this gives you what? Any better detail on how to take care of somebody, from our point of view, from a structural point of view and a chiropractic point of view. None of this helps anything. Okay. Seriously, except that it gives you what? It gives you confidence. Okay. Because you know more. The more you know, the more confident you get, until you get to a point. Okay. Then you don't know anything, and you realize that you have to succumb to that, and then you have to crawl out of that hole. And some of you probably have done. I've crawled out of that hole. Okay. But yeah, I used to think I knew everything. Then I realized I know nothing. And then I'm just grateful for what I do know. So the only thing that stuff does is, the stuff that we look at. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that. From a perspective, if you look at it from an upper cervical perspective, look at the tilt of that atlas. Look at the C2 rotation. Look at that head tilt. Look at the neck tilt. Okay, if you're looking at it from a Gonstead point of view, it's a whole other story. If you look at it from a network point of view or a Thompson point of view, everybody's got a different story. Okay, and everybody looks at something, but to me, the bottom line that you get out of anything that you look at is that you got to at least measure it. Okay. And the reason for that is, what that's done for me is it started me looking at seeing patterns of what is normal, what is not normal. And I started looking at the way that the body started working. Okay. And what we do is we have a cool little instrument called the Posture IQ. And just as a slight sidebar, I'm really close to having a unit that's a little bit less expensive than the present model is right now. And if I had to sell the present model, I haven't even changed the price. I couldn't even sell it for the price that I'm selling it now because stuff has just gotten ridiculous. Okay. So I started looking at a way to save some money, and I have found some ways to do that and to give some great precision and accuracy. So stay tuned for that if somebody wants something like that. Okay. So we get this data that's sitting right here. Where's my annotation? We get this data. Get this data. And what this really is a postural assessment of where the sections of the body is standing. Okay. And what this is saying is the legs are off 10 millimeters here. And this is, we're kind of going uphill, looking at the body from the foundation upward. This is the legs and so forth. And this is the head all the way over here. And what we look at is what, things are short. Okay. Because, grandma never gets taller, grandma gets shorter. Why that is because that's the way it is for now. We'll talk about that in a moment. But we have an assessment where we look at numbers, and what's interesting is that that left 10 is not just left 10. I used to have an anatometer, and I measured people, and I'd say to somebody, you're 12 pounds off on the left-hand side. Well, what's good? Well, what's good is, being closer to zero, right? So you're 12 pounds off. Never the conversation of what that meant, okay? So that is really the whole importance. Do that. Hold on a second. This is interesting. Oh, here we go. Oh, thank God. Okay. So what's funny is the way that WebEx has set up everything now, some of the controls are on the top and the bottom. And when I went to annotate, all my icons came up for my applications on the bottom, and it was blocking my ability to hit the arrow to go ahead. So anyway, it's just crazy technology. So that's great. I saw things like, oh, you're off 10, oh, you're off 5, you're twisted 8, oh, twist of 10 is bad, oh, twist of 3 is better, and twist is most important. And those kind of things, I had this information that I thought was accurate because I was looking at data points without really seeing what was going on here. Okay. To me, they were just data points. They weren't integrated together. Okay. So tonight I'm going to integrate that a little bit together. And what this person has right here is, it says at the bottom here, and this is the way I see it, and it's very simple because of the writing reflex, is that I measure legs every day. I measure the pelvis, I measure the spine, I measure the shoulders, I measure the neck, I measure the head tilt, and where they are in relationship to vertical, right or left, high and low. Okay. I measure how far the body stands off center, 12 pounds to the left, 12 pounds to the right. I measure where the leg is in millimeters, where it goes right, where it goes left. And what I do is, after just thousands and thousands of people, I started drawing some conclusions about, what these things mean and what they mean together. All right. And not just from a structural point of view, but from a nervous system point of view, which is where we're going to go. And that is that everybody has their legs off center. And if they have their legs off center and there's a writing reflex, I've made this jump to say that the head is the final compensator. All right. And it just seems to make sense to me that way. So with this person, with this listing down here at the bottom below the x-ray, it says that the legs go off 5 millimeters to the left. And that's not a big deal, but they should track at 0. Okay, legs should track at 0, not like the spine. Look at the spine, how wiggly it can be, and it still could come to 0. But if the legs go off 0, they go off 0. All right, and they're made to track, and they don't have the flexibility that the spine does. So the flexibility to move between the pelvis and the shoulders is great, and that's the way it's set up. It's not set up to be in the legs. So legs need to be really close. Okay. And then what should happen is there should be a compensation. And this compensation is taking this person to 2 pounds on the right-hand side. So if you want to make this really simple, just look at things as units. This thing goes off 5 units to the left, and the compensation goes 2 units to the right. Fair? And we're going to talk about what that means. Okay? Because really what I see in this picture is something that's been traumatized, something that is compensating, and how much energy it has to stay in this position up on balance. Okay. And the thing that does that, the bottom line is and this is really cool because this is like one of those God comments is this is really just the nervous system. This is the way that we are expressing our innate intelligence through seeing, tasting, smelling, moving, and the perception of the nervous system has with the outside world. Okay. Well, we look at it structurally. We don't look at the eyeballs and say, your eyes are bad and you're not having a good experience there. We look at the structure, okay? And we can look at this picture. I can look at this picture and look at those numbers and look at those relationships down there and look at those configurations and start drawing some conclusions about the power and the exertion of the nervous system. Okay, no, that's great. Okay, because what does that do for me? So that's great. What does that do for me then, Russell, as a chiropractor? Well, if the shoulder tilt doesn't mean anything, or anatomy trains don't mean anything, and the head bone's not connected to the pelvic bone, the shoulder bone, and that kind of thing, then what is this that you're telling me this is exertion and this is power and this is so forth and so on? Is that at a really easy level, what I found is that I can look at posture and I can see the way that the nervous system is reacting throughout it. Okay? Meaning it goes off to one direction in the legs, and I can see the way that the nervous system is responding. And is it responding in a way where the nervous system only has three possibilities, doesn't it? It either underexerts, it overexerts, or it's balanced. It's kind of like the story of the three bears and Goldilocks, right? Too big, too small, just right. And that's what we see all day long is people that walk into the office and their nervous system is underperforming, okay? Or their nervous system is overperforming, all right? Or their nervous system is balancing. And you know what I really see, which is what you really see, is I see a combination of those things throughout posture from the legs all the way up to the toe. That they're overcompensating here, they're balancing here, and they're underexerting over there. So if really what we're looking at is a picture of the way that the nervous system is handling this picture right here from an energetic point of view, then really what do we want to do as chiropractors is not just push the bone, but understand what that picture means as far as what is the nervous system trying to help us, to tell us so that we can help it. Okay. And really it's very simple. If it's underperforming, okay, if something is falling down, you lift it up. Okay, if something is overexerting, what do? You overcome it. All right, so I started looking at these postural misalignments as the legs going off, and you could follow me here. I'm going to put my annotation on here, right here. Sorry about the way that I did that. Okay. And here's unders. Unders are underperforming. So if the legs cause the problem, that's the original trauma. I have never seen well, I have, but legs go off center one way and then the body tries to compensate pelvis all the way up. And that's kind of a normal posture. That's a normal swing mechanism right in that pelvis. So the legs go off center. So since they go off center and they're torn, they're already considered a weakness. So in most times, I have to support that weakness. So if the legs go off to the right, what do I got to do? I got to get on the right side and I got to adjust it and I got to release that line that is short and overcome it and bring it up to center. Fair? Okay. Well, there's another way to see if things are strong or if they're weak. And we're talking about weakness, and that is where the legs go off and how the weight compensates. So say somebody goes off 20 millimeters to the left, which is quite severe. Okay, that's a problem. 20 millimeters to left, and their weight is 1 pound to the right. Well, that's saying what? That's saying they're nice and strong. Those legs go off, and the pelvis and the spine and the shoulders and the neck and the head, all on that right side, are powering up, and they're bringing that person straight up to center, all within to within 1 pound. Beautifully strong. So anything to 0 to 3 pounds, on either side, I consider pretty normal. Okay. So when the legs and the weight are on the same side, meaning the legs go off 20, and let's say the weight was 10 pounds off or 20 pounds off, you would say, hey man, that pelvis and up, they're not doing the job. They are underperforming. So I call that an under. Fair enough. If rotations, okay, I used to look at atlases and atlas rotation. Oh, that's 4 degrees. Wow, that's a lot. Well, what does it mean? What does it mean? Why is it there? So the rotations of the body, I look at the shoulders and the pelvis because they really are the big movers. I want to see the 18 wheelers. I don't want to see the little Volkswagen. So the shoulders and the pelvis are big movers. So if the shoulders are twisting 10 millimeters, and that's a lot to me, okay, then I'm saying that person is really exerting, okay? So low rotations, meaning that somebody is possibly in fatigue, those are weak, those are tired, okay, and underperforming. Okay, so I put this together. It's not just really low rotations, because if you had somebody standing on zero in low rotation, that's really a great thing. Okay, because they're on zero and they're relaxed. But what happens if they're 20 millimeters off in the rotations, which represent exertion? So you're going up a hill, and the thing is not going up the hill, and it's not exerting. That's a problem. That's failure. Okay, so low rotations on the same side when the weight's on the same side as the legs, that's a problem. Okay, so that's really a weakness. All right, so I know this is not supposed to be a seminar, but there's 3 things that I look at as why somebody is in an under position, in a fatigued position, and the legs are always in a fatigued position because they go off center. The second way that I do it is the legs and the weight are on the same side. It goes off 21 way and it doesn't recover. That's very easy to see. Okay. The third one's a little more difficult. It's that same thing and you have low rotations. Okay. That's really fatigue. All right. So with those are unders. Those are the things you got to lift the body. You got to lift the tree. It's falling down on the right hand side, and you're going to lift it up. Okay. So those are the things that you support. Unders you support. Overs you suppress. Okay. So the overs are things where the legs and the weight are not on the same side. So say somebody goes off 20 millimeters to the left on their legs, but their weight is 20 pounds on the opposite side, 20 to the right. So you could look at like this thing goes off 20, but goes the other way 40, way over exertion. This is what you will find mostly in patients, is because the world is very wound up and most nervous systems are ramped up. They're overexerting. So you'll see this between the legs and the weight constantly. And I prefer to have this patient, okay, a strong patient versus an under patient and a weak or fatigued patient, because you can't make somebody strong, but you can suppress and you can beat down the nervous system and let it to fatigue and go and open. Okay. It's like a C that's too closed up. That's the way you should see an over. Okay. Another way to see an over is in the pattern. Okay. You're cruising along, and, if the legs are gone left, then everything above should go to the right. Well, what happens if one of those things all of a sudden show a left? You show a break in the pattern. Well, that's an overcompensation, because you have to look at the letters and say that the body always wants to have the head on center via the writing reflex. So if something goes too far right and then all of a sudden it's got to veer back to the left, then off it goes. And you see a lot of this. Okay, you see a lot of this with upper cervical patients that have trouble, people that have these crazy headaches and all kinds of stuff, and seizures, is where the legs go off to the right, the pelvis and the spine and the shoulders go to the left, and the head and the neck, or just the head, tilt back the other way. Okay, because it's a compensation to the compensation. So that is the way I see an over, okay? The other way you see an over is you got high rotations, man. The thing is really exerting. That's what you see in rotations, okay? So, all right. So, any questions so far? Good.
Looks good.
Okay. All right. So this is the way that I look at the nervous system, and the way that I assess them is in kind of these three ways. And I care mostly about the first two, okay? We'll talk about the rotations just another day, okay? But the legs to weight differential and the breaks in the pattern are the way that I really see the nervous system and how it's functioning. So, why is this then important? Okay. And the importance of understanding what the nervous system is doing, from does it need support as an over, does it need suppression as an over, is because that is the way and the way we're going to help it in the adjustment. And that's the bottom line. See, everybody else is looking at it and they're going to rub on it. They're going to stick a needle in it. They're going to give you pills for it. They're going to cut it out. But the chiropractor looks at the cause. And that's at least what we think we are doing. Okay. We're not doing that. We're doing that for sure. But that's not what everybody, that's just seeing what they're noticing. Oh, that atlas is here and that pelvis is here and this isn't firing. They're not putting it together as a living unit. Even if they can name what pipelines, what nerves go down the spinal cord, what tracks there are. Honestly, that does us nothing also. All right. So this information of understanding what to do to the nervous system based on measurements that we got from an anatomical structure reading is going to give us the information to create an adjustment and look at and make decisions that will help that person based on this information. And it's more of the how to. Okay. Here's my guy. I used to be a BJ guy. Now I'm a DD guy. I'm a DD guy all the way. Okay. I'm not a BJ guy. So we've got basically two protocols, and and what this is going to do is nice is it's gonna streamline the protocol for what you do after a new patient. That's what this is going to do for everybody out in the field, is starting to understand it this way, because it's really easy to see it. Okay, and I make the decision to do it that way, and off I go. Okay, and it really narrows what you do. It doesn't tell you exactly what to do, but it narrows the field, which is all you want to, do. And you'll see that with some cases tonight. Let me just grab my phone. I want to see what time it is. I'll be right there. Okay, great. All right, so we have two protocols. One is a new patient protocol, and that's where we adjust both sides in a specific protocol. We do the compensation and then we do the trauma. So basically, legs last, pelvis first. Okay, so right, left, right. And I do that because the human body is not a brick and it's just leaning to the left. I've had so many people being, their legs are 20 pounds on the left and their weight is on the left, and you adjust them on the right hand side and they pop up to zero. Okay. So the reason for that is that the human body is not a brick and it's not linear. So I want to see what's going. The other thing is I like to feel both sides because I like to feel both sides. All right. And probably, the most important reason is that a lot of people are jammed up. And when you release both sides, whether you're taking out things that may be helpful for them that you should just leave alone and so forth, you're just kind of resetting the whole body on that first adjustment where you can really pop the whole thing open. So that's probably most important for me. See where it goes, see where if the pattern changes, see if numbers change, shake it up, open it up all the way, put it in the blender, and then watch where the cookies fall after that. Okay. But after that, you have to start looking at this thing as an energy system and looking at the overs and unders. So here we go. All right. So any questions right now? So take a look at this picture. Let me get yourself acquainted. You have a listing. You have an X-ray. You have some symptoms. And the symptoms are listed there because they tell you in a very easy way where the body is being overloaded. So I don't use them to say to adjust in per se, but they are definitely very important indicators, no different than the oil light is on your car. And I may not adjust people to adjust for a symptom, but the symptom gives us great information to help you with the way to adjust it. Okay?
Is that right?
So,
C7 hand numbness,
right,
0.4 instead of B?
bilateral, that is.
Okay, thank you.
Both. The left side is worse. Yeah, so everybody's taking a peek at this, yes? Okay. So what this really says here is the legs go off 2 to the right in the legs and the weight goes 8. All right? You could look at the pattern and you could see that the pattern is a type 2. I just glanced on who's on here so I could talk about some of these things in some different ways. So some of these things you may get, some of these things you may not get, but that's the whole idea, isn't it? And some of the things I still have not gotten, which is many. So the legs go off 2 right, the weight goes off left 8. Is it undercompensating or is it overcompensating?
Over.
Over, yeah. It's not a difficult, it's so simple to see. Okay, it's overcompensating. Okay, so look at all that stuff that's on the left-hand side. So if it's overcompensating, what side would you adjust it on? Hello?
Left.
Come on. Did everybody's mic go out?
Left side.
Yeah, left side. Okay, I mean, just look at what this picture, forget, look at, I want to show you. Oh, this is good. Okay, this is the way we do this. Okay, this goes off 2 to the, junk. Sorry. There we go. Okay. So here's the legs. They veer off 2 to the right. Can everybody see that? Okay. So it goes 2 to the right. And if this would let me connect, and then it goes over here, 8 to the left. That's the way that's telling you. Can you see that? Where do you definitely want to adjust this thing? Which one is a bigger problem, a 2 or a 10? It's a 10, isn't it? 2 from 8 on the other side is 10. The compensation is 10 for a 2 trauma. Does everybody see that? Who doesn't see that? Ryan Teeter, do you see that? Ryan Teeter, you on here?
He's at work without a microphone, he said.
What's that?
He doesn't have a mic. He's at work.
Oh, he's at work.
Yeah. Or he said he doesn't have a mic where he is.
I understand. Okay, so does everybody see that? So that is an overcompensation by the nervous system. All right. And an overcompensation by the nervous system is a problem because it's not just short, it's locked down by the nervous system and it's been in that pattern for a long time. So you're not just going to muscle that thing. You'll put those legs up too and move them over much faster than overcoming that compensation. So this overcompensation becomes a big problem. So let's just see what else is a problem on the left-hand side. Let's just look at the letters. How many letters do you have on the left and how many letters do you have on the right? Okay, I'm just adding up letters. I'm seeing five structures plus the 8 pounds of weight. That's 6 that have left and 1 to the right. Problem on the right, on the left again. Fair enough? Where is that exertion happening the most?
Shoulders.
On the
Shoulders.
shoulders. You could see that from the exertion in the shoulders. So the legs are going off and the left freaking shoulder is going haywire, isn't it? Yeah. So just looking at the picture, where is it globally in tension?
Right upper
Globally.
back.
Right side.
Right upper.
No, give me a side. Where is it globally in tension?
Right side.
Like I got a rubber band and I connected all the way to the bottom down here, and I connected all the way up here to the head. Which side do I need a lot more rubber band on? The right or the left?
Right side.
It's so simple,
Right
okay?
side.
Yeah. So the global problem is on this right side as far as her symptom. Look at the right sciatica, okay? Look how the left foot is going to turn out because it's bending over like that. That foot has to turn out, okay? If you do that, that foot has to turn out so that she doesn't fall over. It gives her some more surface area as she bends over into that and pins it into that left side. Okay. Her left axilla, she told me this. This is a lady that comes down from New York. She's a hairdresser and she's going to flight school in Atlanta. And she comes to see us and she's really, I mean, she has really trouble using her hands and she's a hairdresser. Um, look at her spine. It's a wreck. Look at that whole thing is just crashing down. So she comes down every 2 weeks for 3 days. She's been doing that for about, I'm going to say 3 months, but one of the months she kind of missed out on. Okay, it didn't work out. So she's been seeing us probably about 2 months every 2 weeks. So probably about 6 to 9 visits, 9 visits, I'd call it. And a lot of these symptoms have gone away, but she told me last time that this left axilla finally released and it was like a big knot under there. So this area over here on this x-ray, she was able to feel that, that big knot in here of that contraction by the nervous system. And she felt that letting go and let go. She was able to lift that left arm up all the way, which is causing a whole lot of left numbness in that side as well as the right side. That's why it's on both sides. If it's on both sides, muscles hurt first, then we hurt the joints and the nerves, right? So, the fact that it goes bilateral, she has it first on the right, that she's also right-handed, but that left side joint in it became worse than the right side because of the compression that's over there and just squashing the whole thing. Yeah, her whole pattern has changed. She's really jammed up. Just look at it. It's not a normal flowing pattern. It's not integrated. Okay? So how do you think I adjust her? Anyone?
You go left side.
Yeah? Why do you say that so coy?
Well, actually, the tension's on the right side.
No, there's no tension on the right side. The only tension, the tension, where's the tension on the right side? Oh, the tension is on the right side for the symptom.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm a chiropractor. I release what's short.
You look to see if the hinge works.
Well, look at what's going on here. You have to see that the left side needs to be overcome. Okay, so I go on that left side and I take that thing out. And where do I take it out mostly? At C7. And where else? All the way up to C1 because it's a win all the way up. So I only adjust her on the left side, and I would say that she's probably about. She told us this week that she left today, today or yesterday. See her today? She said that she feels incredible. So just from this left side adjustment, numbers changing. Looking at right here, you can see all this left over between the legs and the weight, lefts all the way up to kazoo. Shoulder is overexerting. Where is the shoulder low? It's low on the left. Left, left, left. You just stack up, it's a math equation of what you're going to do. This one says do 3 things on the left and 1 thing on the right, that kind of thing. Well, I'm going to go on the left. And here's the beautiful thing is if I follow the NP protocol, what would I do? Left and right. So left, and then you go check them, and you'll see that you don't have to do anything because if you get that left and you open it and you get it a little bit on the right side and close to 0 and the legs don't move, you'll be a happy camper. The only reason I would turn them over on the right-hand side is if after I adjusted them on the left, the legs fell further over to the right out to like 10 or something like that or further. Then I would have to say, I got to help you. You just fell over. And then then a mod 3, mod 4 conversation of what do you do from there? which we're not talking about. We're talking about energy and overs and unders tonight. Okay, let me just get rid of this. Any questions on this one? Okay, looking at time. Okay, it's 8:39, cooking along. Got just a little bit to go. Okay, I brought a few of these tonight. So all these are relatively new patients. This is a cool patient. This is a girl that's 18 years old. Her mom brought her in. She was referred through another chiropractor that felt that she couldn't handle this problem and sent her over to us. She had a concussion from something and she really came in for headaches. But really, the bottom line is that she has thoracic outlet syndrome down on her right side and down the C7 dermatome. Okay. Do you guys see it? Hello?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, you see the x-ray, you see the listing, you're taking a look at it. Okay. So on my first visit, I adjusted her how? I adjusted her on the right side and then I adjusted her on the left side. Fair enough, and I got some information. What did I do on the second visit? Okay, that becomes the question because there's an NP protocol and then I call it just the doctor's protocol. And that's what I look at. I go, okay, this person is 22 millimeters goes off in the legs. So forget legs in pounds, just call them units for now. The person went 22 millimeters off to the left in the legs, and the weight, okay, which tells me how the person recovers, if they're at 0, says they're doing a great job. How did it do? Is it underperforming or overperforming?
Over.
It's overperforming. It's 22 millimeters on the left, and the weight is 25 on the left.
It's underperforming.
It's total. It's not, Brad. It's not moving. It's going backwards. The legs are on the left, and the weight is on the left, equally amount. Where's the recovery, Brad?
I see it now.
Okay. Yeah, it's a really easy concept to see. If it was right 3, Brad, your person goes off in their legs 22 millimeters, and then the weight is right 3. What's it saying? Hey, it's recovering nicely, right? Super strong. Is
Yes.
it burning up a lot of power? Yeah, it takes a lot of power to do that, but that person's holding it up. This person's failing out. Where is it failing out? Look at the x-ray. Look at that buckle or whatever that T5, 6, something like that. You know? So what else is going on? Okay. Where is, let's look at the bends. Okay. So we have, let me turn the annotation on. Okay. So from a leg to weight conversation, this nervous system is definitely underperforming and it needs an adjustment on the left side. So we're going to keep a scorecard, left and right. Okay. 1 for the left. Fair enough? Okay. Every guy's cool? Okay, let's look at the configuration. That's what I'm going to call the break-in pattern. So the fact that it's left-right means it's a normal type 2. That's normal. The spine is normal. All this should be normal. All this should be right. Well, it's not normal here. So it's telling me that this spine is overcompensating somewhere. Okay, maybe right here in this break. So all of a sudden I see a left. That's why the shoulder is going back left. Or from damage. But because this went from right here to left there, I have a bend. This is telling me this is overcompensating. That's an over. Okay, so I have a compensation for the for the second R here. Okay, but I have a compensation to that compensation. That is 1 for the right, an overcompensation to the right. So here now I'm plugging along and everything should be all left. But it's not. It's left and right. So I must have another overcompensation for the left. Here's 1 for the left again. All right? That's the way I see it. Here's another 1 for the left. Who wants to give me another 1 for the left?
The neck.
The neck. What about it?
The neck is overcompensating with the shoulder.
That is the one. That's this one right here.
Right.
We did that one already.
Okay.
That's the one we just said. So we have the relationship between the leg and the weight. That's the first L. And then we have the second one is the break in the pattern. The left is going too far in the neck that the head has to turn over. Okay, fair? That's 2 on the left, okay? Where's another one? I'll give you another one, okay? Where is the best way to adjust this person for the neck?
C1.
C1 on the left. Yeah?
Mhm.
Okay, is that good for the head?
No.
Yeah, it's great for the head. Yeah, I'm going to tell you why it's great for the head because I'm going to show you something. On the left side up,
Mhm.
remember, this is the way the neck is going. It's right. It's tilting more to the left. Fair enough?
Mm.
Is that fair to say that? Can you all see that? Who doesn't see that? So if this person is standing up, like right here, look at the x-ray, the neck tilts to the left, the shoulder tilts to the left. So this is, if I lay the person left side up, their neck looks like this picture right here. I'm going to do it over here because I could draw because I can't point. There it is. Well, what is the head doing? It's going to the right. It's going down like this. Okay, now where would you rather make an adjustment? Where would you rather have an adjustment? This is your neck. Would you like to have somebody go into that?
No. Hot,
Or
hot.
would you like to go into that?
Hi hat.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Hey, what-
Okay. You got it? So
Yes.
there's another, hold on, I hear you. Here's another reason right here because of the brain stem. Okay, right there. Boom, number 3. Okay? But the fact is, guys, look at this. This person gets real no gain on the right-hand side. Okay, maybe this overcompensation here, but the problem is, here's another reason. Look at the symptom. The symptom is right TOS. Okay, there's all kinds of tension and shear on this thing because this thing is failing over here, right? And the right side can't pull it up. Can you see that?
Mhm.
Symptom number 4. 4 to 1. You with me?
Hey,
This is
Russell.
my whole game. It's the only thing I think about all day. I adjust this person on the left side only. I adjust them at C1 to help them with that brainstem right there. And I adjust them at C7 all the way up, but C7 in particular to take care of this problem right here of the 22 millimeters off and the failure and the fatigue of the of the weight. And look at the rotations. They're not even moving. So you have a person that can't pull themselves up, they can't get up the hill, and they're not even spinning their wheels trying. They are out of gas. Okay? This girl is starting to hold her adjustment, but has not gotten symptomatic relief. Okay? She wants to have her first rib cut out. Her parents said no. So we've got till July because she goes to college. Okay. Questions?
Russell.
So
Yes,
left C7 to support that whole left side, correct?
totally. Yeah.
The
Yeah,
X-ray
and you know what?
right head.
Okay, so if I'm going to adjust this
Like a left
person on the
head.
left side, here's the mod 4 conversation, is I could set this up and I could get that right side by headpiece placement and where I adjust C1, 2, 3, so forth. Fair? I'm just throwing that out there. That's another conversation. So even though I'm adjusting on the left and I had that 1 over on the right, then I can still get that right side because this is a tensegral model. It's an elastic balloon model, and it doesn't behave like a brick. But that's not the conversation tonight. But we're not just throwing the right side out. And so if I decide to adjust somebody on one side, I'm trying to get everything from both sides and keep everybody happy and only support what I need to support, only suppress what I need to suppress, and only go into the cervical spine where I need to go in to release what I want to release. That's beautiful. Okay, question.
How certainly are you if that's a right head? Because the X-ray kind of looks like a left head.
How certain? I'm certain enough that I've been doing it that way.
Yeah.
How am I certain with that's a right head tilt?
Well, look at the things and some other things. It looks like it could be left. So
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. Where'd my slideshow go? Okay, hold on. Here we go. I'm back. Sorry, Andy, I'm going to show you why. Okay. Andy, this is why. So if you look at the mastoid, it's very hard to tell. I call it a right, okay, just because it looks a little lower on the right. Fair enough?
Okay, a
Does it look left to you?
little bit, yeah.
Okay, fair. Okay. So let's talk about it another way. Okay, look at the shoulder look at the shoulder. Okay, can you see the difference between how the shoulder is down, how far it's down? Does it
Yeah,
look the
obvious, obvious.
Okay, it's obvious. Okay. So my perception is in relationship to the shoulder, which way is the head turning? Is it turning right or is it turning left? Or is it balanced?
It's kind of balanced.
No, it's not. It's definitely going to the it is definitely okay, here I'm going to draw a picture. If this is I'm going to do it over here. If this is a shoulder, and I'm exaggerating this,
Yeah.
okay? And if this is the head, okay? At some point, this is going to intersect here. And the reason it's going to intersect is because this angle of the head is not as large as the angle off of horizontal as the one in the shoulder.
It's
Fair?
not really coplanar with the shoulder.
Well, so what I'm using is the shoulder as a reference point of the recovery of which way that head is going.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm certainly not going into that neck, into the valley there, because that is a valley. And this is pretty close to straight. Okay. But I'm definitely not getting it this way. I don't see that. I definitely see this. So I use that. So I look at people as they can still have a little bit of a left head tilt, but compared to that shoulder, it's turning to the right in reference to it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. And that tells me that it's safe for me to go in there, and that's what I want. Okay. So I adjust this girl totally on the left-hand side. Okay. I adjust her at C1 to open up. I open this up at C1 at one headpiece placement and one headpiece height for the brainstem for that thing. And to adjust the other side, I set the headpiece placement in the same, but I adjust the headpiece height so that I could get the right side. Then I bring them up on the headpiece, and so that I keep that secure. And then I go into C7 and C5, and I take care of the postural attachments along C7 through C5 in their ranges of motion.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I roll with that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Super welcome. Thanks for being here. Always. Okay. So this is a lady that comes in. She was just in today. She's a Chinese acupuncturist. She's a cool lady, and she blacks out. As a matter of fact, on her second visit, our massage therapist was working on her. I don't know why she was with him, probably from her request, but she went to, for some cranial sacral work, and she had one of her blackouts. She literally could not get off the table for a few hours, and she had to be taken. I thought I was going to have to call the ER, but she started screaming, call an ambulance. She started screaming. She can't even open her eyes. She has to lay down. Okay, and she's screaming, laying down in this, literally having a fit that, I mean, a fit about me calling an ambulance to not to do that. And we were like, it was like, it was like closing time. I didn't know what to do with this lady, you know? So I couldn't get her to the adjusting table. I couldn't get her off the table at all. So finally it worked out, but that's an experience we had with this lady. She has not had one of those episodes in probably 4 months, and she was having some trouble with them more than once, probably a few times a month. So this is her configuration. This is a crazy thing, man. This thing that happened to her, man, it was the craziest thing. She just was freaking out in the office. Yeah. I was in one of those places. What do I do here? I didn't know what to do, but it worked out. I just
Order
was,
dinner.
I was patient. I just was patient. I just hung out and was patient. It worked out. we called an emergency contact, and they came and blah blah blah, and they helped us and helped her, and she was cool, and she came out of it. But anyway, she has also a similar issue. Is what do you see here? Take a peek at it.
Big time left head tilt, huh?
Yeah, so it's interesting because if you just look at it, it doesn't look so bad, right, on the X-ray. Except that she's got a ton of gas, right? That's about it. But I mean, you look at her spine and her pelvis, it looks pretty good. And this is a warning sign where you see these straight pelvises or straights with these big tilts because that's not normal. It's not normal. Take one of those rulers and bend them. They flow in a nice curve. So when you see this non-integration, that's where people are really jammed up, and that really affects the brainstem and the nervous system. So you have a person that's sitting out 10 on the legs, and they're not recovering because the weight is 8. All right? They're not trying too much because the rotations are small. And the thing that's taken the biggest hit, it's a type 2, is where? Right here. Okay? So this person is different than our last person because this person, we are going to make some decisions. And the reasons we need to do it on the left. So on the left, the same reason as this patient before is because it's listen, they all have the legs in the same. So we could always put a 1 for the leg because it's always an under. Oop, that's a left. This is a right. Sorry, let me get rid of that one. Put it right there. Get that away.
Aye.
Okay, you got me? Okay, so the legs are always an under, but I don't record them, okay? I mean, I just see them, okay? So you can record them. The legs are 1, the legs and the weight, okay, since you're on the same side, it's not recovering. Another side to support, it's an under again on the left-hand side, okay? These are unders, okay? They're not overs, okay? So then we have an over on the right-hand side right here, okay?
Mhm.
Then we have another reason is C0, there's the convexity is up. There's another reason. Okay, so now I'm 2 against 2. Okay, and then I got another reason is to me that I think this whole thing comes from the brainstem, which is right here, but I could say that's here too. Okay, so how am I going to adjust this person? Anyone?
I'm going
C1.
right side up to get left head tilt.
Yeah, I'm going to go on the right side, and I'm going to adjust them on the left side. Okay, I'm going to adjust them on the right side, okay, because I want to support all these things. I want to support the symptom. I want to support the C0, C1, okay, and I want to support the correct side to adjust C0, C1, and I want to support the over, okay, of this right left between the neck and the head. Sorry. But I also need to support this weakness, okay? And it is possible that I adjust this person on the right-hand side and that hinge works and it pops up. Yes, but if it doesn't and those legs stay out at a 10 and the weight is still out, I'm turning them over for that reason. So I adjust this person right, left, and that's exactly the way that I take care of her now. And that's what works best. I've tried just left. I tried just right. I tried just right, left. I tried just left, right. I didn't try some of those because some of them don't make sense, but you got what my point is. Okay? That's what works. I'm telling you, the over-under thing works very nicely to really streamline a really mod 1 new patient to a mod 2, 3 conversation, and then to finally just what happens if it's this shit ain't working, Okay, next
Question.
person. Yes, sir.
Are you staying, when you adjust the left side, are you staying away from
Uh,
C1?
Yeah, totally. I don't touch C1 there at all. As a matter of fact, I bring them all the way up on the headpiece so that's supported there.
Good.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. When I want to get the other side, or I want to get that break right here, Brad.
Mhm.
That's when I use a low headpiece, tip of the ear.
So you're saying you're sliding her up when you're left side, if you have to go left side,
Yeah, so the headpiece
positioning her
pattern
up,
on this person
different
would
support.
be the headpiece pattern of, forget the height, okay? We'll just talk about where the ear is.
Okay.
On the first side, right side up, I adjust her at I put the bend point right on the corner of the headpiece. You
Okay.
got me, which is the tip of the ear. I
Yes.
put the tip of the ear all the way at that tip, so I get a good bend between C0 and C1.
Right.
Okay, that's what I need. So I got to bring the head down, so the tip of the ear is touching the bottom of the lower support.
Right.
Okay, then I move it up. Okay, after I break that loose. Why do I move it up? Because I want to go after C7. Okay, I want to go after C7 and I want to get the postural muscles. So I like going in there. And I do go to C7 and bend it all the way through because I could still do that. Okay, but I bring the person up and I go after that C7 with a higher support, and then I turn them over and I only do C7 with a high support, mastoid support, so to speak. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So this is a lady that just came in from out of town. She lives in Georgia. Her mom sees me, a longtime patient, hasn't seen me for a while. She's older, can't drive to get up here. And she's convincing people to come see me because I can help them, but she really wants to come for herself. But she needs a driver. So she brought her daughter who's got trouble, and this is what's going on with her. She's got, just take a look.
Mhm.
Okay, time we got. Okay, this is going to be the last one we're going to do. Okay, I won't do the last one. So this person is, if you're looking at that X-ray and it's wiggling all over the place, you could just know that it's jammed up. It's just not normal. It's like take a 2x4 and squash it down, or you know what I'm saying, and it'll start bowing like this. It's all squashed up. It's not happy. Okay, it's a type 1, which means it's not even a normal pattern. And it's a type 1 because the leg and the pelvis are coplanar here. Tells me there's a knee problem, which she does have a knee problem, but didn't mention it because it doesn't bother her that often, but it's one of her older issues. Okay. So the headaches are the most problematic thing for her. And then the shoulder problem. All right. She's seen a number of chiropractors. She's gotten some relief. She's had some work with some upper cervical people, and she owns a honeybee farm. Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's cool. So anyway, you look at her listing, and let's just talk about it. So she goes off to the left side a little bit, and she compensates in her weight to the right too. Nice. Okay. So she goes left, comes back right, very happy. So the legs, we could call them as an under if we want to do it that way. And there's one reason to support the legs is that they go off to the left-hand side, and at C7 I could get them nicely on the left side. Okay, so is there any other reason to support them on the left side? Well, yeah, well, I mean, it's weird. Getting lines on the paper here. You've got some other structures that are on the left-hand side, but from a bend point of view, from a break in a pattern point of view, you have an overcompensation here of the spine because the shoulder goes right. So there's another reason. That's a pattern break. So we've got the legs off. We got a pattern break. That's another reason to go to the left. I don't see any other reason for the left. For the right, though, I have what? I have an over, okay, which I could say it's balanced. I could say that, but let's just call it an over for now, okay? I don't know if I would consider it an over. I certainly wouldn't consider it an under, though, either, but it's definitely more of an over. Fair enough? It's just 2. Let's just call it 10 for now. Let's call it 10. Okay, let's call it 10. So 10, we're going to call it an over. The legs went off 5 left. It's overcompensating 10 units to the right. Okay, so it's going 15. It's too much. What's another reason for the right? Well, here's another one. It's over between the neck and the head. There's one there. Okay, another reason is because of the C0 and C1 is on the right-hand side. All right. The symptom is the right suboccipital, okay, is there because it has a right and a left head tilt, so the tension is right at that right occipital. It's unhappy. There's one for the right. The left shoulder is why is it a problem? Is that a right problem or a left problem? The left shoulder is bothering her because of why?
It's low because it's low on the right.
Tension.
Yeah, because it's in tension. So how do we get out that tension?
Support the right side.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to release the right side here. Okay, because the right side, that shoulder, it's not really support, it's suppressed. Okay, that right side is it's pulling down and it's creating tension. So you know the way it goes. The cause is on one side, the symptom is on the other. Okay, all right. So it's this left head tilt that causes the right suboccipital. Okay, and it's this right shoulder that's down, that's contracting, that creates the left. So it's another one for the left. So you can look at this and go, I'm definitely going to do the right side, and I'm going to see what it does, and then I'm going to release the left. I'll give you another reason to do it on the left, because it's a type 1, and it's got a problem here, and it definitely needs a left side release. So it's 4 on 4. So you just see what it does on the right-hand side, and then you'll see what it does on the left-hand side, and you're going to have to learn from this one. But that's the way I see it. It's a math game. Questions? Okay, hopefully you get some of that. It helps you out, because that is the idea, is to help you. Okay, so that is the perspective that I have, and that's really the way I look at this, and I look at a picture, and I look at a structure, and it's no longer of, oh, it's there, it's, why is it there? And that only incorporates two things. That incorporates a global view and a living view, where we're looking at the nervous system in the way that it responds, okay? And here's the bottom line. I appreciate all of you coming. This is the only place you get to hear that stuff. It's the only place I get to hear it, So I appreciate all of you. Any questions?
Russell,
Sir?
so once again, when you're trying to go after that C7, you stabilize the head, bring it up on the headpiece always.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And I stretch that top leg out, and I put them in a good tentegral arch, and I go after it. I either, I go to it P to A mostly because that's the most extension, but you can go A to P as well. It doesn't really matter because you can break that tension in either direction.
Okay.
Okay.
Got
All
it.
right. Anything else? All right. Have a nice night. Thanks for.
Thanks, Russell.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.